everybody, it's Durston, and this is the new Sonic game because my wife is a total Sonic fangirl. It's actually really good though. It's really good. His momentum is a little bit different than in previous games. He seems to be almost a little bit slower, but once he seems to get going faster. So he seems to be going slower and going faster. If that makes sense. But the momentum is a little bit different. But other than that, though, it plays like the exact same, and it's actually a lot of fun. So, anyway, what the Lord is saying today, this day, is that He says that He wants us to understand what it means to be a messenger. What does it mean to be a messenger? It's for the body. What does it mean to be a messenger of His kingdom? And a lot of times, I think what happens to us is that we sometimes want to, I don't know, we can get caught up in these ways of, okay, it needs to be delivered this way, it needs to be delivered that way, it needs to be delivered this way, you know, so I need to deliver the message through my living, I need to deliver the message through what I'm saying. I need to deliver the message to all these things about the kingdom of God. And really, it's both. And the reason why it's both is because of listening to instruction. You know, in order for you to be a messenger, you have to actually listen to a message. So a lot of times we get so caught up in this ideology of what we think that God should do and what is more important and things like that. It's kind of like, how about listening? How about being a messenger that actually listens to the message? So if God, for example, is saying that, hey, I would like you to witness to this person or that person or whatever it is, you can say that, well, God, I disagree because I need to deliver the message of your kingdom through my actions, through my living. And you wouldn't be wrong with that. But you got the message to give that person a message. And you may think that, oh, there's no way, that guy right there, you know, he's so close-minded, you know, he's a raging atheist, you know. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with the raging atheists as in, you know, they're just horrible people. I'm saying, like, raging atheists as in, you know, they have a real problem with religion and they're evangelical against religion because they've seen the harm that it's done in their lives and they're just not down with it, you know. And so you may say that that's that person and everything, but you don't know what God is up to. And because you don't know what God's up to, because His ways are above your ways, be quiet and listen and deliver the message. Just deliver the message. That's all that you got to do. It is about listening and delivering the message. Because for all you know, God could have been working on that person all week or month or year long. And that one thing that you said, in obedience to God, could be the tipping point. The fact is that you just don't know. So you would want to have the peace of, you know what? I don't know, but I'm going to listen anyway. And it may blow up in my face or whatever it is, but not all messages of God can be received with grace that you would like them to receive it and things like that. That's fine. That's fine. But it doesn't mean that you don't do it anyway. Because Jesus had sent out the disciples, and He said that people who don't receive you, shake the dust from your foot and keep the party moving. I mean, think about that. Jesus sent them into a situation where He knew that people were going to turn this message away. But He didn't say to, well, do it by your living. No, He said that even if you fail, it's not even about a you thing, but even if it fails, if it doesn't go out to accomplish what it is that you thought it was supposed to accomplish, even if that doesn't happen, something was still accomplished in God's view, in God's timing, God's way. So it's about being a messenger and understanding what it means to be a messenger. Are you supposed to be traveling to deliver the message to somebody? Are you also giving a message through your actions? What's your testimony? What is it you're doing? And the thing about testimonies too is that Can nobody argue with your testimony? Right? Like, this is your experience. Like, you know the difference between this and this, and you're saying that this is unequivocally this. Which is why the Bible says that in terms of what it is you have against the enemy, you have the blood of the Lamb and the word of the testimony. That's what you get. And at the end of the day, that's all that you get. So, it could be a thing too where a lot of people are very, very pious in what they say, you know, don't do this, don't do that, you know, the Spirit of God's convicting you, etc., etc. But this person may just want you to go up to another person and show them the kingdom and deliver the message of the kingdom by your actions. So if a person that you just cannot stand, and nobody can stand and everything, and you see him over there and the Lord's kind of like, hey, give that person a hug. Like, that could be the turning point right there. It's like, no one has cared about if I'm sitting here scowling and everything. No one's cared about that, and you actually showed some compassion, and I really appreciate that. And that's the seed right there. That's the seed right there. Love in front. That's always the seed right there. So, if you neglected that action because, oh, well, this person's so cantankerous and da-da-da-da-da-da, you know, it's like, be quiet. I don't care what your message is. Your message is apparently to be resistant and lean on your own understanding. That's not the message. The message is to make students of Christ. How do I make students? Students of the gospel? The gospel is the way to get to be an actual student. What's a student of? Student of the kingdom. And Jesus talks about over and over again all the stuff about the kingdom this, the kingdom that. And people are asking about the kingdom all the time. The kingdom this, the kingdom that, you know, can I join your kingdom, you know, etc., etc., you know. The gospel is the good news into the kingdom. That's what the gospel is. But if we're being students of the gospel, then, well, that only take maybe like a week or... I mean, I'm not saying that the mysteries of what happened on the cross are not so vast that we will probably take 1,000 years upon thousands of years to understand the depths of what actually happened there, because that's like the intersection of the universe. But as far as getting the basics of that down, I mean, so there's something deeper going on there. It's understanding this kingdom. This message of the kingdom. So when the king sends a message to you, you are to deliver that. That's what ambassadors and convoys do. They deliver a message from their nation, from the king. That's what they do. So then, what is the message that God is asking you to deliver? Not just overall, but on a daily basis. What is God giving you the nudge and the heart to do? What is he asking you to do? What's the message today? Sometimes you just need to concentrate on what is the message today. Because the message today, in that act of hearing from God on a daily basis and moving into those promptings and those nudges that he gives you in the spirit, that right there prepares you in obedience for the bigger things that he has for you. And that is where we begin to yield to the Lord rather than leaning on our own understanding, because it's going to be very, very important for whatever calling that God gives you. It's going to be essential for whatever calling that God gives you. So, obedience. Obedience, obedience. What is the message? What is the message? I don't care what your message is. Apparently, you know, we keep on resisting all the time. The message has been to resist what God is saying because it ain't gonna work in my Western understanding of things. So it's like the message that I'm conveying is that God doesn't know what he's talking about. And that I know people better than he does. And that I know all the things behind the scenes of that person. I know everything about them. The reason why that person's mean, because they're just mean. The reason why that person was so mean and ugly to me, I'm not going to give that person a hug. Even though you told me to do that or talk to them. They're mean and awful. They're what's worse. They're a worse person that I know. They're even the white nationalist. They're a Nazi. They're this. They're that. They're all these horrible things. They're a skip scap scullywop, which is another way of saying they're promiscuous. They're all these things, and my delicate sensibilities just no, I just cannot tolerate these people. And that is your message, but what if God's message is that, you know what, the only reason why that person is the way that is because of exactly what you're doing right now, that they have not received enough love. If love conquers all, then even if they reject you, love still conquers all. You know, 1 John and I think chapter 4 for 1 John, maybe chapter 4 and chapter 5. 1 John is amazing. 1 Corinthians chapter 13 verses the entirety of 1 Corinthians chapter 13 is just extraordinary in terms of what love does. It's so incredible. And God just does things in love. He doesn't worry about your comfort level. He worries about, is my love getting out to that person? In the same way that he poured his love out to you and gave you grace. So let's understand the message. The message is about this grace and this love. The message is about you can join this kingdom. You don't have to suffer anymore. The message is about hope. The message is about this Messiah who was willing to die for you even when you're in your sin and in your mess. That's what the message is about. So let's get to the message. And let's talk about how the message is about how your life can be one of this service, because it's better to give than to receive. This service than to get into a new life, to prosper into a new life, and to serve and to actually be happy rather than being stuck on our problems all the doggone time and isolating in those things and expounding about, instead of being trapped in that. There's a way, there's a kingdom that is abundant. There's a kingdom of love. There's a kingdom of peace. There's a kingdom of might. There's this kingdom in which we're a part of. So let's go ahead and spread that message. That seems really, really important. Alright guys, hopefully this will encourage you to understand what the message that we're supposed to be giving out. And really look what Jesus is saying. What was his message? What was really his message? We talk about the gospel all the time, and that's awesome. Talk about the gospel, for God's sake, literally. There's another layer of it though. What do you talk about the most though? What's the message? What is the overall message? So that's my time, guys. Love you guys, and I will talk to you later. You can also subscribe, and that will give you updates to all my videos coming out as well. And you can also support me on Patreon as well. That's going to be in a link in the description below. And Lord willing, guys, I will talk to you next time. So details about the show. Obviously, you'll be seeing this coming out every single day. So at 12:30 p.m. every day, until further notice, I'll be releasing these grinding videos because it's not a huge time suck. Because all I'm doing, I'm praying, I'm asking God what the message is, and I am just delivering it. That's pretty much it. You know, so again, when God says that my yoke is easy, he's so right. Just listen. Listen and be the messenger. That's what this entire show is completely based off of. Literally. Grinding is listening to God and being the messenger. For today, so I ask God every single time when I do this. I was like, God, what do you want to say to your people? Which is very, very important and a big deal. So if you heard this, you're supposed to hear this. Alright guys, loves and hugs, and ta-ta for now. Thank you once again to my Patreon supporters. It means so much to me. Just look at them. Just look at these people. Just look at it.